Jain came to the university. Those are a bunch of words which will show as plagiarism. And I'm not guilty of plagiarism by writing the name of my institute, which will appear in all the papers that I write, right? So UGC says that all coded work reproduced with necessary permissions and attributions should be excluded from plagiarism check. General phrases should be excluded from plagiarism check. And bibliography and table of contents. Reference section should be excluded because reference section is already it's an account of the paper that are already published, right, with issue details and all this. That should be excluded. But other than that, review of literature and other things should be subjected to plagiarism check. Now, if the plagiarism check is 0 to 10%, no issues. Okay, you can go ahead. But then if it's 10 to 40% or from 40 to 60%, above 60%, there are consequences to it. Okay, there are consequences for students and there are consequences for faculty members also. Every institute is given guidelines as to what they should do to handle this. Okay, but you can go through the text; it is there. But I'll simply take you to the consequences. Okay, see if for a student, okay, say research scholar, the plagiarism less than 10%, then there is no penalty. Okay. If it's 10 to 40%, such students should be asked to submit a revised script. Okay, that means the script will be given back to you, you revise and resubmit it after plagiarism check. If the plagiarism is between 40 to 60%, the student shall be debarred from submitting a revised script for a period of 1 year. It can be enforced. If the institute wants, it can be enforced. So you are liable to be punished if you have plagiarism. If the plagiarism similarity index of the submission that you are making is 40% or 60%. So don't get into that situation. Okay. If the similarity index is more than 60%, the registration shall be cancelled. So you can re-register. And I'm not person withdraw the manuscript, denied right to increment. I mean, all regular employees know what it means to enjoy annual increment. I'm not going to go into that, but they will be denied increment. Shall not be allowed to supervise any student for a period of 2 years if the plagiarism is between 40 and 60%. If it is above 60%, we have to withdraw the manuscript. Okay, shall be denied 2 successive annual increments and will not be allowed to guide anyone for 3 years. Okay, so these are set rules by UGC and they will be enforced if anyone is found guilty. So these are the consequences of getting involved in what we typically call as fraud on account of plagiarism. Don't do that. Be careful. There are tools available for it. No one wants to actually plagiarize anything. We all have this habit of starting by copying and pasting and paraphrasing, but then you bring your own element into it. Don't be found guilty of plagiarism at any cost. Okay. Then this is submission fraud. Okay. Submissions, when you do a piece of research, you will communicate the research to journals, right, for publication. There are what are defined as fraud there also. Okay. It is not acceptable to simultaneously communicate the same piece of work to 2 different journals, because if it ends up being published by 2 journals simultaneously, because you had a little scheme in your mind that let me send it to journal A and let me send it to journal B, whichever comes first, I'll take them, then I'll put a halt to the other one. But if somehow skipped your mind, you got busy with something else and both the journals published it, it won't happen that way because there is always going to be revision. But assuming it happens, sometimes they deliberately intend to do so, then you are duplicating your publication. It's not permissible. Okay. The other type of fraud is duplicate publication, where you have same set of data, just change the flavor of the paper by either changing the title or whatever, right? You make it look different while the central data is same, and you try to project it as 2 papers, but actually the same paper. Okay, so those 2 are deemed as submission frauds, and don't ever get into that. Again, there are set guidelines, okay, established by COPE to deal with this. But if a clinical trial or any other type of trial involves study with a larger group of people, extending the preliminary observation made by a small sampler size, although the experiments are same, it doesn't constitute duplication. Okay, so it's just confirmation study. Okay, so that's submission fraud. I don't know what it is. Okay. Okay, this is authorship. Okay, this is something that concerns authorship, and you all know what it means to be an author in a paper, right? If you're an author in a paper, that means the paper is yours. I mean, it's to your credit, right? And okay, there are a lot of guidelines as to who should be included as author. and who should not be included in authors. Okay, I'm not going to go into all those things, but anyone who has significantly contributed to design, conduct of the study must be given authorship. They must not be denied authorship also. Okay, so generally anyone who is included in the list of authors must meet these three requirements. Must have made a significant contribution to the study. The rest of the things are there. Okay. Must be involved in drafting the manuscript, and they must all approve the manuscript. If there are 5 people involved in the study, 5 of them are genuinely involved in the study, but the 5th one hasn't been told about the manuscript or the flavor in which it is written. 4 people have written the manuscript. They have communicated to the journal, including the 5th person's name, but the 5th person is not aware of the way the paper is introduced or discussed. He is not given official consent to be on the authorship. Then it's also fraud. It's not fraud, but it's misconduct. Okay, every author must approve the final manuscript before it is submitted. Okay, and if you submit a manuscript, journals will have check boxes, and they'll have data entry fields where you have to enter every email ID of all the authors. So the communication will go to all the authors. There is no way you can get around it. Every author will actually end up approving the manuscript if they are included as author. Okay, that's ethics about authorship. Okay. Absolutely. Okay. If you want, I can show you retractions on that account. But then it will mean that I have to reveal the names of the people who are involved in it. So I will refrain from that. If a person is not aware of the manuscript being written and communicated, he can simply write it to the editor saying that I am one of the key people involved in the design and the conduct of the study. They have not taken my permission to write the manuscript. I do not endorse the views that the authors have expressed from the data that they've got, and hence the paper should be retracted. The journal will retract the paper once investigation has been concluded. Okay, so everybody must approve. Now there are 3 types of authorship issues you will find. Okay, one is ghost authorship. Okay, ghost authors. Okay? Those are the ones who actually made meaningful contribution to the study, but somehow their names are omitted for whatever reason. Say out of spite, the corresponding author removes the name of the person. Okay, it often happens with outgoing research students. Okay. PhD students work very hard in a lab, and once they exit, sometimes many people that is communicated after their exit, where they've actually worked, will not have their names. It's not permitted. See, not only should you not include people who have not contributed to the search, but you must include, no matter what, those who contributed to the work. Okay? So ghost authorship is when people are denied, okay, authorship despite serious contribution to work. Gift authorship, okay. I can't remember. Anyways, okay. Gift authorship is inclusion of authors simply because they were at key positions in an institute which extended some facility for doing research. They had no role to play. The facility was created by Government of India, so each authors have no role to play in creation of the facility. It's just that they were sitting on their instrument, okay, controlling them, and you had to access that instrument, and you use the instrument, and out of that you're under now the burden of having to give them authorship. It happens a lot many times. Not ideal, and it's actually misconduct. It shouldn't happen. Okay. Gift authorship is when it's literally given as a gift to head of the institutes or department directors. I'm not going to go into this much, okay, but these are the 3 types of authorship issues. Okay. Now, conflict of interest. What is conflict of interest? Conflict of interest is simply defined as competing interests, defined as financial, personal, social, or other interests. They directly or indirectly influence the conduct of the research. Okay, for example, let's say that I am doing a clinical trial on an antidiabetic drug. Okay, and it's my job to show that the drug works or not, and it's my job to show that the drug is safe or not and efficacious or not. Okay, so whatever is the fate of the drug hangs on my study. The balance hangs on my study. Who is sponsoring the study? The company that manufactures it. I have a conflict. My study is entirely funded by a company that is producing the drug, and I am publishing the data. I am probably going to be under pressure to falsify data because the company would have invested a huge amount of money on the drug, right? And they don't want to publish data that will antagonize the prospects of the drug in the commercial domain. So I am at conflict with the sponsor. It happens. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with taking up such contractual research. Just you have to declare it. You have to declare that the study was sponsored by this company so that the people are aware of it. Okay. it's not wrong to have conflicts, but it's wrong not to declare them. Okay. So if you submit a manuscript, okay, how many have seen a manuscript actually? Any manuscript? Okay. There are sections. Okay. I wish I had more time to show you manuscripts. Every section will, delve into each of those elements of ethics. At the end, you must mention, if you have no conflict of interest, you should declare without any choice that you have no conflict of interest. And if you are later on found guilty of having conflict of interest, the paper could be retracted. So conflict of interest must be declared. Okay. Okay. Now I'm coming to. I think you've seen your syllabus, right? I was supposed to talk about publication ethics. So those are the elements of ethics, and you have to follow guidelines. Who sets these guidelines? Okay, there are many agencies. WAMI, okay, World Association of Medical Editors. There's ICGME. There is COPE. But COPE is the one that generally followed everywhere. Okay, most journals are COPE compliant. COPE stands for Committee on Publication Ethics. Okay. What is its job? Its job is to guide editors and publishers, not researchers. Okay? They'll not come down to each one of us and say you have to do this, you have to do that, because they'll have to reach out to millions of researchers. It's not going to work. On the contrary, reach out to editors, reach out to publishers, and enforce the code of conduct through them. And what happens is they are so good that actually they creep into UGC policies also. So they become policies not only for journals to enforce, but slowly they're becoming policy for higher education institutes also. Okay? So that's COPE. Okay? COPE stands for Committee on Publication Ethics. It's a non-profit organization. It's made up. It's a forum of journal editors. Came into being in 1997, and its sole objective is to promote integrity in research. It's as simple as that. Okay, and they are there to assist, not researchers. They are there to assist editors and journals. Okay, that's something we want to keep in mind. Now, what is the vision? What's the aim of the organization? Aim is to advance and educate and advance knowledge in methods of safeguarding the integrity of scholarly data. That's their aim. Okay, and their vision is to create a future where ethics is cultural norm. It's just not something that is defined and forced. It's not something that people should be forced to adhere to, but it should become cultural norm. That's the vision of the COPE, okay? And it's got its mission, okay? I'm not going to go into that. But what I wanted to appreciate is I don't have enough time. I think I have to wind up now in about 10 minutes, okay? So, if you go to a COPE website, it's there on the bottom, okay? You can access the website. They have guidelines pertaining to these issues, okay? They have guidelines for study design and ethical approval. They have guidelines for data analysis. They have guidelines for authorship. They have They have guidelines for conflict of interest, peer review. They have guidelines on redundant publications, plagiarism, duty of editors, media relationships, and advertising that journal can get involved with. Okay, they have guidelines for everything, and most journals comply to these guidelines. Okay, and that's how they enforce ethical code of conduct through their own policies. Okay, I don't have enough time. Can I take another 10 minutes, sir? 5 minutes? Tired? Okay. See, I'll just give you one example, and you can apply the same logic to figure out the rest. It's there, okay, for your benefit. But let's look at one of them, okay. First one, okay. Study design and ethical approval or consent, okay. Definition says that good research should be well justified, well planned, appropriately designed, and ethically approved. That's the definition of COPE's guidelines for the first of the guidelines that I showed you, okay? And they say that that's how the document is. First they define what the practice is, and then they say what constitutes fraud, okay? Or misconduct. And they say that to conduct research to a lower standard as defined by whatever constitutes misconduct. That's the definition. And definition of, what's that? First one, okay? Design and approval, okay? This one. That's the definition. And they also define what constitutes misconduct. But what is the action plan? They have a host of action plans. Okay, these are the action plans. Okay, so this is what becomes the guideline for journals, and some of these are adopted, modified by institutes of higher education and universities, and that's how guidelines are set. Okay, so I'm not going to go into all that. It's their data analysis. They have guidelines. They have guidelines for authorship. They have guidelines for conflict of interest. They have guidelines for peer review process. They have guidelines for redundant publications. They have guidelines for plagiarism, whatnot. Okay, so all these things are available on their website, or this slide, you can access this slide and leave it with the university. But this is how the ethics is. Okay, the take-home message is value your reputation as if your life depends on it. And the only way to do it is be aware of the code of conduct for ethics, and as much as possible, even in the face of adversity, comply with them. Okay, adversities will come. Okay, if anyone thinks that research goes without any adversity, they are joking. They have not done research. There will be tremendous adversities. Please comply to ethics. That's the only message I want to give you. Okay, I want to wish you all the best. As I told you, you are all interested with the responsibility of shaping